Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. My name is Susanna, your host, and I live with trains. So today I have a layout update for you. It's been a little while since I posted anything up, but there is a fair amount, as always, to show you. And I guess by the thumbnail you can see some of the things that I've got up to. I'll get into that shortly. Firstly, I wanted to touch upon, I just want to make sure I've got everything to show you. I inadvertently bought some bits and pieces on eBay that's come from Jumble Lane Printing that I didn't really realise. He goes by the name of Scenic 3D Printing. And I was watching a chap called Don Coffey on YouTube, who I watch kind of religiously when he puts up his videos. And basically, he does real life train cab rides, either for Freightliner or Transpennine around the country. So that's what it is. It's actually real life trains. It's got nothing to do with railway modelling at all. However, through watching his videos, it does provide inspiration for the layout, because obviously you sort of look at things from his point of view in the real world, and you kind of pick up on bits and pieces that crop up on his videos, and you can kind of think to yourself, oh, that's a good idea, or I could put that on the layout here and there. So as I was watching his point of view as he was driving on his latest video, he come across some masts, I believe it is, a phone mast and a cabinet that comes in. It comes as a pack of two. So I thought I'd get these and I will dot these around the layout. And like I said, I was searching through eBay and I didn't realise that when I bought it, that it actually come from Jeff over at Jumble Lane. And it's Scenic 3D scale model printing on eBay. And this is what you get. Like I said, these are the foam masts. They're still on the sprues, still unopened. I have to say, it's really nicely detailed, and it came well packaged. So thank you to him, because he has done a cracking job on these. I haven't done anything with them as yet, as you can see. But in all honesty, I will put it, so that's both of them there. So they'll be dotted around the layout and add a modern twist to the layout, if you see what I mean. So, you know, even in some of the rural areas, you'll get an idea that, you know, it is modern. So I'm going to probably leave it, the colour scheme, as it is. The only thing I will paint is the actual tops of the masts themselves to reflect that it's been detailed and stuff like that. But essentially, in the real world, they do pretty much look like this as is. So, you know, they're sort of unobtrusive. So I'm really, really pleased with these from Scenic 3D. And like I said, I got these from eBay. Now, I'm going to take you to layout shortly and I'll explain to you a few other bits and pieces, but obviously you guys know that I've been working on the Wagon Works building, and so I've been getting a few more bits for that. And one of the bits I have got is some Woodland Scenic Accents welders pack, and so I've bought that because I've also bought a flashing arc welding light. So I've already installed that. Now the arc welding light has come from Train Tech, and it's an SL50. That costs, I think it was £15. This actually costs another £15. But if you buy the figure on its own, if you can find him, actually already fully working, and then you just have to install him, he's actually more or less the same price anyway, or slightly dearer, plus you have to pay for the packaging. But I really wanted to create that effect in the Wagon Works, so that's why I bought these figures to go with the arc welding light. I'm now going to spin you around to the actual layout and talk to you more about the layout itself. So stand by. So here you can see is one of the biggest changes to the layout is that I finally got the fabric to wrap round the whole of the layout here. So now pretty much I've bought all the fabric that I need to buy to cover the whole layout that I needed to do. So here, between this point here and that point where behind the seat there, that is approximately 5 meters worth of fabric. The fabric I bought off of eBay, and I also bought the Velcro from my local arts and stationery shop. It was self-adhesive tape that I used, and it works well to a point, but it does need help. So that's kind of like a word of warning, that if you do decide to go down this route, that you will probably need some extra glue, because what happened is that the tape will bond well to the fabric. It doesn't bond so well to the hardboard, especially the back end of the hardboard, because this hardboard here is the nice side here, but the back side is the rough side, and it doesn't really adhere to that. So what happened is I went through all the trouble of installing it like this, and it looked like this all the way around. And then when I came back from work, because I did this before I went to work, all of this was on the floor because the adhesive just wasn't attaching to the back of the hardboard. So what I've needed to do for that is to use my trusty, big, chunky, go anywhere glue gun. I love this glue gun. I've always said it's such a handy tool to have in the toolbox. It wasn't very expensive to buy, and it's actually cheaper to run than my little one that I have, because the sticks are actually cheaper. I managed to get these 2 additional sticks from my local arts and stationery shop for just 46p a stick. So they do go a long way. And so I had to use this to run a bead of glue bit by bit along the bottom edge here, because it does go off quite quickly. So you have to work in sections and then just glue it on. And then once you glue it on, press these Velcro backing up against the hardboard, and then that will stay put. And then you just work your way along in sections. Don't try and glue it all the way around and then come back to it, because the glue would have gone off by then. So you have to work in sections. But this is definitely a godsend and definitely needed in this job. So I bought the fabric. The fabric arrived this week. I had to lay it on the floor to measure the drop, because the drop was too long. So I then had to mask the bottom end of the tape and trim off the excess, so it sits level with the floor. So it's not just, so it drapes nicely all the way down to the bottom, and it's not just a shed load of material just crumpled at the bottom. So I've done that there. I've also done it along the side here. I don't know if you can notice it, but along the side there's another piece. And funnily enough, on this bit, it's actually stuck direct to the plastic, and that didn't fall off. So if you stick it direct to plastic, it will hold fine. It won't drop. But it just didn't like being stuck to the back of the hardboard. So this piece of hardboard isn't actually attached to this. So I can take this out without having to take the Velcro out. And as you can see, there's a slip there, and I can just move that and store things underneath and hide that. Since we're at this angle, I had to readjust the fascia slightly, because I didn't realise when I was looking at it from this angle that there was a slight bulge in the fascia. It was slightly out on the bottom edge, so I just needed to flatten that out a bit, and that also helps with the fabric along the bottom. The whole fascia has had a repaint, and there's a reason for that, which I'll show you shortly. But the whole fascia all the way around up to the point of the TV has had a repaint. So the reason why it's had a bit of a repaint was there was a little bit of a slight knock on this corner, which I wanted to address, which I wasn't happy with. So I had to kind of sand that down and take that back, which I did. It's had a whole repaint, so it looks nice and blue. And what you will notice is that I've also got a switch panel here now. This is just purely lighting. There's no point motors or point switches or control panels or or anything like that on this layout. It's all manual. So you have to work if you were to come here and operate. There's no fancy kind of software or anything like that, or panels or anything like that. This lighting is basically just purely lighting for the various sections. I'll come on to that in just a moment. I've also spoken to the printers this week. So the printers are Tanya. She's going to be doing me my new banners for this section here. So all of this blue section that you can see here, blue fascia, that's all going to have some new decals painted on it and banners put on it, which I'm really looking forward to, and that will really bring the layout, finish that fascia board off, which I think is going to look really great. So we come to the 6 switches. There's a lighting switch for the platform. There's one for the TMD at the back. There's one for the Freightliner logo shed. There's one for the actual lighting posts themselves. There's one here for the wagon works, and then there's another one in here for the arc welders. Like I said, the people haven't, and the figures haven't been put in yet. One of the other things I should say whilst I'm here is we have also put in some of my wheel sets along here. I did see this as part of the vehicle maintenance facility at Manchester. So I've decided to add these in, and then that gave me an excuse for the heavy duty forklift. And then I've got my crane there, which is one that I previously used before with the nuclear flask terminal that I had. So that's been done. And I will probably take you off the camera in just a moment and show you inside the wagon works to show you what I've done. So I don't know, excuse the shadows again. You might be able to see what's going on in there, but basically I've sort of done the inside of it. And I know you probably can't see it very well, but you can sort of see bits and pieces. But I will turn the lights on in a minute and you'll be able to see it properly. But if I take you down the back end, so you can sort of look the inside. Let me see if I get you down close enough. You can probably see what's going on. Sorry about my fingers. But you can't see too much, but I will switch the lights on so you can have a better view. But I have done a lot of the work. The inside is now pretty much finished, but I need to install figures and things like that, which I will do. So in this view, you can see nothing, so don't worry about it. Don't adjust your sets. I'm just going to switch these lights on the panel so you can see what I'm doing, or so you can see things coming to life. There you go. So that's the first switch flicked, and that turns on the actual lights in the main yard. If I put the next one on, that's now connected to this building here. But that still needs an interior put in it. If we move on to the next one, obviously you can see the platform lights have come on. And then if you go to the next one along, now you might not notice, you probably won't notice this, but you see if you can, but there's a little glow that comes from the arc welding. So that's from in there, but I'll show you that properly afterwards. And then the next one is the main Wagon Works building, which is there. And then finally, we have the main TMD area over there. So now we're fully lit up in this area. So I'm hoping you can sort of see what's going on. There's some jacks in there, and there's also a wagon in there. Now this wagon I've made out of card. Now let me see if I can sort of remove this. As you can see, there's that flicker there for the arc welding. So I'm going to have a figure on there, and that he's going to be making it out like he's doing his thing. So there you go, you can sort of definitely see that. So the lighting is now put in. Let me see if I can show you a better angle inside. I don't know if you can. Bear with me a minute. Let's see if we can. I'm not sure if it's a bit too bright or not. But I have actually done some work in the interior. You can see the panelling, but I don't think you can see it in this kind of light. Over here, you can see the light for the TMD, which looks really, really nice. I'm really pleased with that. The platform's now got lighting as well. So I think there's the appropriate amount of lighting here for the nighttime running. I think the only one that I might consider putting more in, if I just park that up there, is I might put one on here to put some light in this area maybe. So this is the original one, but as you can see, there's no interior in that at all. I need to put a base in that. I haven't finished that yet. So, but this is the original building that I put together. So if you can see that. And from this angle, you can see the whole lighting effect for the nighttime running, which I think is great, actually. So that's all kind of ready to go. And that is the lighting panel, if you can just about see it. So one of the other things I've been doing this week is a very minor modification to these two. These are my 220s, I love them to bits. These are the original Hornby Railroad versions that they brought out. I don't know, was it last year or the year before? And these are basically Hornby, Lima body shells basically. And all you need to do to take the bodies off is just remove the buffers to take the bodies off. I hadn't run these two for a little while, and they run together. And I run this one last week. I had a small issue with it where, I can't remember which one it was now, but one of them just sounded really odd. It turns out it was a very minor problem. It turns out that the Stay Alive wire had got wrapped around the drive shaft, so I basically cut that off because I don't really use the Stay Alive on that anyway. But the main thing I've actually done to these two is both of these, which I didn't realise at the time, had these really, really rubbish small buffers attached to them. And I say, I really don't like them because they don't suit the 20s. They don't look right on the 20s to have these really small, really, really rubbish buffers on them. As it so happens, I actually had 4 here. So I had enough to do one. So I ordered another one. So as you can see, this has got the bigger buffers on it now, so it looks much nicer. So I had enough to do one, but I didn't have enough to do the other, so I had to order a new set of buffers. And as you can see, it looks so much nicer with the big round ones. The little ones it came with were just absolutely awful. So that's a minor modification. I had these two running around, which is nice because I really do like these two and I haven't run them in ages, so that's why they're on the layout. So to finish this video, I just wanted to talk to you briefly on a couple of bits from the last video, I think it was. Now, somebody had asked me about that I don't use cork on my track, underneath my track work, and was asking me basically the reason for it. And so the short and simple answer to that is basically I don't use cork under my track because I don't see the point. I know some people will probably be screaming at the screens now going, what? But I don't see the point. The only thing I see about it is that you can have a shoulder for the ballast if that really bothers you. If you want to go through all that, that's fine. For me, it doesn't really bother me. Also, it was a huge cost exercise, and I have changed the layout a fair number of times, and it really gets really expensive to do the cork underlay all the way around the layout. Also, the reason why I say I don't really see the point is that people will turn around and say, well, it deadens the noise and softens the noise and all this kind of stuff. Okay, fine, I get that. But on the other hand, I run a DCC sound system, so it doesn't make any difference because you're going to end up having sound locomotives running anyway. So that's why I don't use cork, just for those reasons. It's personal choice. Some people love it. It's just like with super elevation. It's like a lot of people use super elevation, but I don't use super elevation here because it's more trouble than it's worth. I have experimented with it in the past and I've had issues with that. Inclines, it's a flat layout again, because again, I've had inclines in the past and I've had issues with inclines. So basically it's just to keep it simple and keep things running and eliminate, I should say, the risks. Now, speaking of eliminating the risks, on my last video, I did actually show you that I bought a DCC Concepts surge protector. And I just wanted to give you an update on that because it's probably something that some of you may be thinking about getting for your layout, and you're probably thinking, is it worth it? And in my opinion, it's 100% yes. It's definitely be the best £15 that you've spent. That's just me, because from my point of view, it's been demonstrated already. Because the whole point of me buying it was because of my Batman stroke EFE class 143, which has been a bit of a pain, which is something actually, funny enough, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I have been playing with the CVs on that. So it is running better than it was. It isn't so erratic as it was, but that was causing problems through the surging because when it derailed, it used to derail pretty much a lot because of its erratic nature of its running. And so obviously that's now calmed down. Now I've played about the settings. It's still not perfect, but it is better than it was. But that's why it was the perfect sort of DMU to test that surge unit on, because what happens is that when it derailed, it always used to send a surge and it used to affect other locomotives around the layout. Since I've put that on, when I've been testing with that 143, and if it has derailed or I've had any derailments of any issue of any kind, then basically none of the locos have reacted at all. One of my locos that did used to react, I don't know if you can see it, there was one behind me, is this one, my new Depot 59. That used to react with the surges. So I believe that it is actually doing its job. The little light comes on to say that it's working, and it's very easy to install. It doesn't take very much time to install, and personally it's more what you call peace of mind stroke insurance, because hopefully it will help with the rest of the locomotives and prevent any damage to any other decoders that are on the layout at the time, especially if they're sound ones, because the last thing you want to do is be spending £100 or £150 on a DCC sound decoder and then you inadvertently blow it up by doing something silly. So, or something innocuous. And that has happened to me before, where I did actually blow an Apple Imperium chip. It wasn't a sound chip, but I did blow it because when I fitted it, I put it on the layout, the locomotive just, unbeknownst to me, it just literally shot off around the layout, and apparently it was supposed to do that or whatever and adjust find its level, I think it is. And it basically derailed on a point, and when it derailed, it basically blew the chip because it shorted. So that's kind of my reasoning for getting that. And like I said, another reason for getting it is because it's also a very easy install. I mean, like I said, it only takes about 5 minutes. So for that peace of mind, 5 minutes, not overly expensive, to me, it was kind of like a no-brainer. So anyway, that concludes the end of today's video. I'm really looking forward to getting the decals next week, and once they're on, that should add like the final touch to the actual fascia, and I can then really move on with doing some other work around the layout. I was actually hoping to get some more Hornby magnetic couplings this week, but apparently they're sold out. They've been so popular, so I can't get them anywhere for love nor money at the moment. And there's a big back order apparently with Hornby, so we'll see how that pans out and how long I'm going to have to wait. So in the meantime, I'm going to have to be running around with the tension locks until that more comes in, and then I can start replacing those that I need to. So like I said, it's still onwards and upwards, things are still moving along. I've still got a lot of the decals and signage to fit, which I'm really looking forward to doing. Whether that will be this weekend or this week, I'm not sure. I do have one or two other projects on the go. One of them isn't actually railway related, so that needs to be sorted out. So whether or not I'm going to have time to kind of jump back on the railway and get anything done, who knows. But anyway, until the next time, it's goodbye from me. And my name's Susanna, and I live with chains. Bye-bye.